The heavy glass doors of the Manhattan ballroom reflected a sea of glittering chandeliers, expensive silk gowns, and cold, calculating glances that could freeze a man right down to his bones. Standing near the catering entrance with a damp cloth in one hand and a tray of empty champagne flutes in the other, Caleb felt completely invisible, which was exactly how he preferred it as a struggling single father working 3 different jobs just to keep his 7-year-old daughter, Chloe, enrolled in her neighborhood school. He had only taken this high-end catering gig tonight because the overtime pay meant he could finally afford the specialized winter boots Chloe needed for the upcoming school term. But fate clearly had a much more chaotic evening in store for him. Before we dive deeper into this emotional journey of unexpected twists, unexpected grace, and quiet resilience, please take a quick moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel if you believe in kindness, hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances. Across the expansive, marble-tiled room, Victoria stood at the center of attention, celebrating her 30th birthday as the youngest and most formidable tech CEO in the city, draped in an emerald designer dress that radiated absolute power and unreachable perfection. Yet behind her polished smile and the endless parade of wealthy investors offering insincere toasts, Victoria was drowning in a suffocating web of family pressure, boardroom betrayals, and a humiliating ultimatum delivered just hours earlier by her traditionalist board of directors, who threatened to strip away her controlling shares unless she proved she could cultivate a grounded, stable, personal life by the end of the evening. Spotting her arrogant ex-fiancé striding toward her with a predatory smirk and a journalist on his arm, ready to humiliate her publicly about her supposed lack of human connection, Victoria panicked in a split second of absolute desperation. Before Caleb could even process the sudden movement, the powerful billionaire CEO abandoned her circle of elite guests, marched straight across the polished floor, grabbed his arm with a surprisingly firm grip, and whispered frantically that he needed to act like her fiancé tonight to save her career. Frozen in sheer disbelief, Caleb looked down at his modest catering uniform, his faded black vest contrasting sharply with the multi-million-dollar atmosphere, and tried to pull his arm away, muttering that he was just a hired worker who didn't belong in high society. But Victoria's eyes, usually as sharp and unyielding as steel, held a sudden raw vulnerability that pierced straight through his defenses, reminding him too much of the terrified look Chloe gave him whenever thunder shook their small apartment. With a gentle yet commanding squeeze, she murmured that she didn't care about his clothes, only that he looked honest in a room full of sharks. And before Caleb could muster another objection, her ex-fiancé stepped directly into their path with a mocking chuckle. Forcing a deep breath and channeling every ounce of protective instinct he possessed as a father, Caleb stood tall, straightened his shoulders, and delivered a calm, steady introduction that completely disarmed the sneering critic, turning a potentially devastating public ambush into an astonishing display of quiet dignity. As the evening progressed under the glittering lights, the fake engagement slowly dissolved into something unexpectedly profound as Victoria and Caleb stepped away from the roaring crowd and shared quiet whispers by a balcony overlooking the sparkling skyline of Chicago. Victoria listened with wide-eyed fascination as Caleb spoke with fierce, unwavering devotion about raising his daughter, teaching her how to ride a bicycle in the cramped courtyard and baking burnt pancakes every Sunday morning, revealing a world of simple warmth and genuine affection she had never known existed inside her sterile, corporate fortress. In return, Victoria confessed the crushing loneliness of her success, the sleepless nights spent staring at spreadsheets, and the heavy burden of carrying a corporate legacy built entirely on expectations rather than love. They realized beneath the expensive attire and the towering glass walls that they were both just searching for a safe harbor in a relentless world. Two wandering souls whose paths crossed by sheer coincidence, but connected through a shared longing for authenticity. The magical evening reached its emotional climax right before the final toast, when Victoria stood before her astonished board members, looked past the sea of wealthy elites, and publicly thanked Caleb, not as a prop or a wealthy peer, but as a man whose genuine heart had taught her the true meaning of wealth and courage. She announced right then and there that she was restructuring her company's charitable foundation to heavily invest in single-parent support programs and community housing across the United States. forever changing the corporate culture she once guarded so fiercely. As the warm applause filled the grand ballroom, Caleb smiled softly, knowing his financial struggles were finally over, but more importantly, realizing that love and kindness could bloom in the most unexpected places. If this touching story of an ordinary father and an extraordinary CEO touched your heart today, please take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know what you would have done in Caleb's shoes.